Man, it's your boy TJ back with another video, man. We grinding right now, man. This shit don't stop, man. We got the 4 most underrated NFL teams heading to 2025, man. If you new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe, man, cause it's free. Dumbass nigga, subscribe to that nigga, bro. I wanna do that. You doing that to me for subscribe, bro. I'm talking to you, nigga. Yes, subscribe. We gonna have a problem, bro. Real talk. Let's get into the video, dude, man.
When thinking of serious contenders to win the Super Bowl this year, you may immediately think of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions, the Baltimore Ravens, or the Buffalo Bills, and the list goes on. And all 5 of those teams won their division last year and looked really good throughout most of the 2024 season. They have earned the preseason expectations fans have for them, and especially the Eagles, as they absolutely dominated the 2024 postseason and were up 34-0 at one point in the Super Bowl. But everyone knows how good those teams are, and in today's video, we're going to discuss 4 of the most underrated teams heading into the 2025 season. We're going to discuss why each team is in today's video, each team's ceiling, and discuss the improvements they made to the roster this offseason. Placing a team in an underrated video, of course, does not mean they're destined for the Super Bowl, but it does mean they aren't getting enough love nationally heading into the year. And before we start, if you could like the video, I'd really appreciate it, and without further ado, let's begin. And we are starting today's video with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos had a tough start to the 2024 season as they started out 0-2 with a road loss to the Seahawks and
after we put 70 on them niggas, they tighten up for sure. They definitely ain't the same team that we put 70 on though. They definitely got better though, but that game was wow. I always remember that game. We beat the shit out y'all niggas, boy. Oh my god, boy, like a man game or Ricky, but nah, for real though. The Broncos, bruh. The Broncos nice, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I see them finishing second in that division with the Chargers and Raiders. I got the Chargers third, and I got Chiefs winning that division, bro. Till I see something else happen though. But Raiders last in that division. But the Broncos added some players, especially that defense. But that defense nasty, and Bo Nix too. I expect Bo Nix to have a big year in 2025.
A home loss to the Steelers. They surprised everyone when they not just beat the Bucs in Week 3, but beat them by 3 scores on the road. And there were countless positive things to take away from the 2024 Broncos season, but one of the biggest positives I think that should be taken away, aside from the obvious, was how well they responded to adversity after starting out 0-2. They put up just 26 points in the first 2 games of the year, and
damn, 0 touchdown the first 2. Damn, 4 picks, and damn.
Committed 5 turnovers offensively. And the outlook of who Bo Nix is a player now is much different than it was after the Steelers game. He put up 6 points in his home debut and threw 2 interceptions, and through 2 games had a TD to INT ratio of 0-4. And I know Broncos fans remember this because I know I would if these things were being said about my quarterback, but I remember seeing a lot of people take victory laps relative to their pre-draft takes of Bo Nix and saying how he played like the 6th quarterback drafted and how the Oregon scheme was a gimmick, and you get the point. The Broncos and Bo Nix eventually turned their season around, and much to the surprise of everyone, they won 10 games and made the playoffs. And while they did lose 31-7 to Buffalo in the wild card round,
Broncos definitely improved from last year, though. I ain't gonna lie, Broncos defense is crazy, especially with Pat Surtain, the best corner in the league, better than Sauce. I heard they had Sauce over that holding ass thing. That nigga be holding, bro. He overrated, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But though, 15 games in 2024, 330 for 490, 67.3 passer rating, 3,300 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 picks, 370 rushing yards.
And I was ecstatic for how this team played in 2024 and for how Bo Nix played during his rookie season. And this applies to every team in today's video to a degree, but to me, for a team to be underrated, there's several factors that play into this. You either have to be in a smaller market or be in a division where nobody expects you to win the division heading into the season. And Denver is coming off of a year in which they finished.
Hey, Denver, y'all better appreciate Bo Nix, because y'all ain't have a quarterback like this since Peyton Manning, bro. So y'all better appreciate it. Y'all better not be ungrateful, nigga.
3rd in the division, and of course, play in the same division as a team that has went to the Super Bowl in 5 of the past 6 years in the Kansas City Chiefs. And heading into 2025, I really think the mindset around this team is, yeah, they had a good year last year and they made some moves this offseason, but they're not going to win the division, so they'll just be another wild card round exit, or they'll even take a step back and miss the playoffs entirely. And while in theory that could happen, I really liked what the Broncos did this offseason to improve the roster. They brought in both Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw from the 49ers, and what I like about these deals in particular was the Broncos are protected if both players do not work out. Greenlaw tore his Achilles in Super Bowl 58 against the Chiefs and only played in 2 games in 2024, but is a really solid linebacker when healthy, and after being named a first-team All-Pro back in 2022, Talanoa Hufanga has played in just 17 total games over the last 2 years. Each player is a relatively low-risk, high-reward signing, and they also brought in Evan Ingram and J.K. Dobbins in free agency too, and I really like the J.K. Dobbins signing, and while I admit...
J.K. Dobbins, nice, especially him and R.J. Harvey, though. That's going to be a nice duo, though, but 13 games, he only played 13 games, almost had 1,000 yards, 9 rushing TDs. If he would have played a full season, bro, not even a full season, one more game, he would have been a 1,000-yard rusher, bro. Easily, bro. I'm surprised J.K. didn't sign back with the Ravens, though, bro. When he left the Ravens and then went to the Chargers, he had a good year with the Chargers. I'm surprised Chargers didn't keep him either, but...
I do not think Denver is going to win the Super Bowl this year, and I would imagine a lot of people feel that way. I think they are a team that does not get the love they deserve nationally. They played 2 pretty bad games last year, one of which was to the Ravens, and the other was unfortunately against the Bills in the playoffs, but nobody really thought a rookie quarterback was going into Buffalo and beating the Bills with the season on the line, and it was a huge win for Denver to be there in the first place. But I think people are forgetting this is a team that finished 10th in offensive points per game last year and 3rd in points allowed per game too, and improved the roster this offseason as well. And Denver is one of the more underrated teams heading into 2025.
Denver did a lot of moves this offseason, though, especially that
Next up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw both could be still, they healthy, they dogs, they healthy for sure.
And to me, the 2024 Buccaneers are very similar to another team that lost in the wildcard round a couple of years ago in the 2020 Indianapolis Colts. I really thought the Colts that year were a really good team that unfortunately went into Buffalo and lost to a team that was led by an MVP candidate in Josh Allen, and as we know now, that was Josh Allen's rise to the superstar that he is today. Tampa lost to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders last year, and what gets lost or either forgotten about...
That's how I feel about the Colts, gang. Like, the Colts with Anthony Richardson, I don't see y'all, like... I don't even see y'all making the playoffs with Anthony Richardson, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. I just don't seem like he that quarterback. He trash to me, gang. Like, I don't know what's wrong with Florida quarterbacks, but he trash to me, gang. Like, I don't see y'all going far with him. Jonathan Taylor need to get up out of Indy. I don't see y'all going... I'm sorry, gang. Like, I'm trying to, like... Maybe he gonna have to show me to make me believe, bro. He gonna have to show me to make me believe because he got injured. He gonna have to show me to make me believe. Like, he gonna run that thing though for sure, but his accuracy is just trash. He got the arms, granted his accuracy. He can work on his accuracy. He'll be straight, bro. But I don't see it, bro. He gonna have to show me to make me believe it, bro.
Out within the 2024 Bucs season was this team finished 4th in offensive points per game last year, and Baker Mayfield threw for 4,500 yards and 41 passing touchdowns. He was tied for 2nd in the NFL in passing touchdowns with fellow 2018 draftee Lamar Jackson, and they finished 2nd in the NFL.
41 passing touchdowns, 4,500 yards, 16 interceptions, 106 passing rating, 300. Baker was nice last year. I mean, 16 picks. You would have lowered down on the picks, but the Bucs loaded up this year, boy. I ain't gonna lie. They got one of the best receiver trios, bro. They got Mike Evans, 1,000 yards every season. Chris Godwin, underrated receiver number 2. Abuka probably gonna be in the slot. They got McMillan. You can't forget about McMillan. McMillan was nice. McMillan was really playing receiver 2 with them. With they players hurt. I think Godwin hurt, but he was really a good receiver 2 for them and getting a lot of reps. You know what I'm saying? Interesting how this receiver core, but the starting receiver is going to be Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Abuka, number 3 in the slot. And then you got McMillan and others. And they got Bucky Irvin, too.
Only behind the Bengals' Joe Burrow, who threw for 43 touchdowns last year. What I also think needs to be remembered with the 2024 Bucs is not a lot of players on this team played all 17 games. Chris Godwin was, of course, hurt during the Ravens game, and we, of course, are hoping that Chris recovers and that he will be back to the player that he was pre-injury. Mike Evans did not play all 17 games, and he was really pushing to get the 1,000-yard mark in the Week 18 game against the Saints, and it was because he missed a couple of games. Jalen McMillan, who had a tremendous rookie year, didn't play all 17 games, and neither did tight end Cade Otton. And what I think is particularly impressive about Baker Mayfield's 2024 season, within the fact that he threw 4,500 yards, was there was only one 1,000-yard receiver in Mike Evans. And this was not an offense where it was like the 2022 Dolphins or 2022 Vikings, where Tyreek or Justin Jefferson each go for 1,700-plus yards, and they are the catalyst of the offense, where if they have a bad game or if they get doubled or triple team, there's nowhere for the rest of the offense.
I miss our offense being like that, like the 2022, 2023. I don't know what happened, bro. McDaniel keep throwing the ball 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage and shit, bro. We need to stop that. Put the vape down, nigga. I don't know why he was doing that, but this year, bro, I don't want to see none of that.
Offense to go, because that certainly wasn't the case. The Bucs had 7 players go for 300 or more yards in 2024, and it was a very, very unselfish offense. And this, in a lot of ways, is why I think they will have continued success in 2025, even despite former offensive coordinator Liam Cohen now being the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. First-year offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard will certainly have his work cut out for him, but this is a guy who went to Yale, so obviously there's a high intellect level there, but he also was the Bucs pass game coordinator in 2024, meaning he was already within the organization. This is not a guy that was all the way out in Seattle or all the way up in New England or wherever, and that he's coming from somewhere outside within, that he's just meeting Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans for the first time. And the Bucs have a lot of stability along the offense from 24 to 25, and there may be a starter or two different from opening day last year to this year, mainly Chris Godwin, because we don't know if he's going to play in week 1 because of the injury, and then Bucky Irving / Rashad White and how the running back room plays out. But the point is the rest of the starters are exactly who they were last year, and this is an offense that finished top 5 in points per game last year, and a offense that put up 20 points in every game from week 1 through 18, including the wildcard round as well, with the exception of the 26-7 loss against the Broncos in week 3. Now, Tampa will certainly be battle-tested in 2025, as in the first 7 games of the year, they have 4 very difficult road tests in Atlanta, Houston, Seattle, and Detroit, and they even have a difficult road test in the middle of the year in back-to-back games of at Buffalo and at the LA Rams, but their final 5 games of the year are very winnable, as they play New Orleans at home, Atlanta at home, at Carolina, at Miami, and then finish the year with the Panthers too. There's a very real chance that this team starts out the 2025 season like they did the 2024.
The division with the Bucs winning that division with the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. That's the sorriest division in football. To me, I ain't gonna lie. They gonna beat them though for sure. Like they definitely win that division. That's a no-brainer. But week 17, y'all losing, bro. Y'all ain't beating us week 17. I don't give a damn, but we beating y'all last week 17. Though.
Season where they're 4-6, 10 games in, and then win 6 of the final 7 games and enter the 2025 postseason on a hot note. One bold prediction I have is that while I do like Michael Penix, I think that his future is bright in Atlanta, I don't think he's going to throw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns en route to a Falcons victory over the Bucs. There is a chance that Atlanta wins, of course, in week 1 over Tampa, but I don't think Michael Penix is going to set a franchise record for passing yards against Tampa the way that Kirk Cousins did last year. And that also kind of gets lost within the 2024 Bucs season, is they still won 10 games, yet were swept by the Kirk Cousins-led Falcons, who, of course, is now a backup, and there's a very real chance that he's not on the Falcons roster at the start of the 2025 season. I think this roster is incredibly underrated, and I think the Bucs are going to be a very difficult team to beat week in and week out. They're going to go through their adversity in 2025, just like everyone else, but when it comes hell or high water in January, this is going to be an incredibly difficult team to beat.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need with full business functionality.
To Sin City we go to discuss the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders had a long 2024 season for not just one, but several reasons, and I think the best way to describe the 2024 Raiders season, really aside from Brock Bowers and even Jacoby Myers, was everything that could have went wrong. Max Crosby is one of the best players in the NFL, but sustained an injury in week 2 and was not the same after. And I really credit him for playing through the injury, but he was a much different player in 2024 than he was in 2023. The Raiders also spent big money on Christian Wilkins in free agency, as they gave him a 4-year, $110 million deal, and unfortunately for Christian and the Raiders, he suffered a Jones fracture in Week 5 against the Broncos. And for anyone who may not know, a Jones fracture is a broken bone on the 5th metatarsal of the foot, meaning the outermost part of your foot, between the base and middle part of your foot. And Jones fractures can be kind of scary because of how far the foot is away from the heart, and the heart's job is to pump blood, and having a Jones fracture as an an athlete is very scary because sometimes they do not heal properly. And on May 21st, 2025, Raiders head coach Pete Carroll described Wilkins' recovery as a difficult process and said, quote, "He's not ready to get back out and that we're in the midst of a long, challenging process," end quote. The Raiders also went into the season with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as their top two quarterbacks, and needless to say, I was always hesitant on buying in with the 2024 Raiders. The injuries on the defensive side of the ball were very unfortunate, but I always thought this team was going to be limited. They also had 29 turnovers as an offense last year, which had them at 29th.
19 passing touchdowns, 16 interceptions. God damn.
Ironically, and forced just 13 turnovers. And when you have
Oh no, I thought it was the QB stat. So these all they touchdowns in total. Damn. That's
a
terrible.
very limited offense, along with a defense that can't force turnovers either.
But that's how I feel about the Raiders, though. Like the Raiders, bro, I don't even see them making the playoffs this year either, bro. I still feel like they need a lot of holes, especially on that defense side of the ball. Linebackers, corner, safety. Y'all got Geno Smith, veteran quarterback. Y'all got Pete Carroll, I know. Y'all got Ashton Dietrich. We don't know what he gonna be like in the league yet. I think he gonna do good in the league. I don't know, man. I feel like the Raiders still got far way to go, though. I still see them winning by 9 games, though.
Well, you're in for a 4-13 season. Oh, and they also finished dead last in rushing yards and yards per
They gonna do
carry,
better
as
than they
Alexander
did last
Madison
year,
led the
though,
team in
bro.
rushing yards last
They
year
might make a
with
little
just
wild
420.
card, but I don't see
Nice.
them far to
Now,
go.
why I think the Raiders are underrated heading into the year is because this is a much improved team from where they were in Week 18
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
where they are today. I obviously hope Christian Wilkins recovers to full strength, but even if he doesn't, I would imagine the Raiders are going to force more than 13 turnovers over the course of 17 games this year, and also hope that Max Crosby is back at full strength and make his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl en route to getting back to double-digit sacks. They, of course, also drafted Ashton Jeanty number 6 overall, and one thing about Pete Carroll is he is going to want to run the football. Barring health, of course, Ashton Jeanty should be a 1,000-yard back in year 1, and this should be the start of a couple of year run where the Raiders are a legitimately fun team to watch offensively, but also a solid team too. The one big thing that worries me, of course, is who plays in their division, as I think the AFC West is one of the best divisions in football, if not the best division in football, and Geno Smith did not have a good interior offensive line in front of him in Seattle last year, and it was very clear. And while the Raiders won just 4 games last year, having competent quarterback play and running back play along with not finishing bottom 4 in the NFL in turnovers on both sides of the ball will naturally lead to a couple of more wins really in itself. I think the Raiders do have a lower ceiling compared to a team in today's video like the Bucs, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team finished 2025 with anywhere from 8 to 10 wins. And the one thing you can almost guarantee from a Pete Carroll coach team is that they are going to be a pain in the rear end to play every single Sunday. To Foxborough we go to discuss the New England Patriots, and whatever you think of this team heading into the 2025 season, I think at minimum...
I ain't gonna lie, these some art boys. We don't fuck with these niggas, man. I'm Pat's K. But I'm gonna keep it real, though. They got Mike Variable, new coach, new structure up in there. Gonzo, yeah, dog. I ain't gonna lie, they got a lot of pieces in there. They got Landry, the outside linebacker, Harold Landry. They added Stephon Diggs. They added a lot of pieces, man. I ain't gonna lie. They added a lot of pieces, bro. They fixed that O-line. They got Will Campbell. You feel me? Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. The Patriots, bro, they got... The Patriots, bro, they ain't the same team, bro, but we still on y'all. Tua still on y'all. Tua still like 5-0, y'all. So we still on y'all till I see something different. We gonna continue to on y'all. I don't care what y'all got.
You could acknowledge that they are, without a doubt,
Pat's
one
K.
of the most improved teams heading into this year.
Yeah, they
Maybe not the
definitely
most
improved,
improved team, but certainly one of the most improved teams. And it started with what they did in the NFL draft. They brought in Will Campbell with the 4th overall pick, and I don't want to sit here now in the middle of June and act like I was a huge fan of this pick. And while I certainly didn't hate the selection, I had a couple of questions regarding him playing at left tackle, and we'll see how that pans out over the course of time, although at minimum, he will certainly be an upgrade relative to what they had at 2024. Which was former 6th-round pick Fedarian Lowe, and Fedarian Lowe did not play well at left tackle last year, to say the least, nor did former right tackle Demontre Jacobs, who has been since replaced by Morgan Moses. Those two players, in Will Campbell and Morgan Moses alone, will significantly upgrade what the Patriots had from last year to this year, but that wasn't all of what the Patriots did heading into 2025. They, of course, also brought in Travion Henderson, the talented running back from Ohio State, wide receiver Kyle Williams in the 3rd round, as well as wide receivers Stephon Diggs in free agency, and they even brought in Jared Wilson, an interior offensive lineman from Georgia, who I think can legitimately be a developmental piece, and not just a guy that you say will be a development piece and then really play 10 games over the course of his career. I think there is a path for Jared Wilson where he sits part of this year and eventually starts towards the end of this year, or even starts in 2026 and beyond. I really do like Jared Wilson and who he was as a prospect, and I think there is a very real scenario where he is an eventual starter for the New England Patriots.
Wealthfront offers a cash account that has one of the highest interest rates on the market.
Now,
Well,
how
better
all of
than
this
last
plays
year.
into them being
Booty
underrated
cheeks
entering
last year.
2025 is for Drake May to show the flashes he did last year, despite
Yeah,
having
Kiki
every
Booty as
reason
our
not
receiver,
to.
too.
To me, is a good representation of who he will be moving forward, and now that he has a couple of pieces around him, we will start to see the player that he was projected to be coming out of North Carolina. I also think with the 2025 Patriots that
Even though I don't like these goofy art boys, I ain't gonna lie, Drake May kind of nice though. I feel like y'all build around Drake May. Y'all got that defense. Y'all basically build with y'all defense. I feel like, yeah, man, I feel like y'all definitely gonna be better than what y'all is last year though. But we still own y'all niggas, bro. Right? But y'all niggas looking nice though. I ain't gonna lie.
they should improve by default because the coaching staff is going to be a lot better than what it was in 2024, and I do think Mike Vrabel is going to be a better head coach than Gerard Mayo was. And a lot of my frustration with Gerard Mayo was either not taking accountability with things, and that was especially big after the Cardinals game, or when the camera would pan to him on the sidelines and he wouldn't be talking to other coaches, and a lot of the time he would just be standing there, which certainly frustrated Patriots fans, rather than talking to another coach or rather than talking to a group of players. He would just kind of
What
be
y'all
standing there
expect,
and
bro? I
you
mean,
never
he was
knew
gonna
what was
fix
going
that
through his head in
season
those
around, bro.
specific times, and it was pretty
Ricky
frustrating
head
to
coach,
watch,
shitty
all
team.
things considered.
I mean, y'all
But
just
when
set
you
up
look
to
at the
lose that season.
2025 Patriots schedule, specifically within the first 8 games, I don't think there's really many games that you can circle that you definitively count as a loss for New
All
England.
right,
Now,
I could count it for 'em. Las Vegas, L. Us, you already know that's an L. Y'all can't fuck with us. Pitt, L. Carolina, I'm gonna give y'all the W. Buffalo, L. New Orleans, W. Titans, I'm gonna give y'all the W with the Titans too. Cleveland, W. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I see y'all starting the season like
I
3
will
and
be
5
direct
first
that
8
I don't think
games.
they're going to go into Buffalo and win in week 5. Could they? Yes. And they played them really tight last year, and I thought that should have been one
3
hell of
and
a
5.
confidence booster for the 2024 Patriots. But if I had to go hell or high water right now, I would pick the Bills to beat the Patriots within that game. But when you look at the other 7 games within the first Patriots 8 games of 2025, whether it's at Miami or at New Orleans or at Tennessee versus the Steelers, whoever, do you look at any of those games and think, man, New England does not stand a chance, they are going to definitively lose that game? No, and I think there's a very real reality that with all of the improvements the Patriots made from the roster, from coaching, and from an organizational standpoint, that they can start out the year 5-3 or 6-2, and I wouldn't be surprised based on how
that
much
ain't
they
happening.
improved the roster of the organization from last year to this year. Now, I've been asked a lot recently, when are we starting the 2025 team preview series, and I want to say that I am humbled that you guys really do enjoy the team series, but this is going to come up with not just the Patriots, but a lot of teams, and it's the reality that only 7 teams from each conference can make the playoffs. But when you look at the 2025 Patriots schedule, combined with how much they improved the roster from last year to this year, guys, I don't think it's unreasonable for this team to win 9 to 10 games and to be a wild card team in 2025 and to give Drake May his first taste of the postseason. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe, as it helps the channel tremendously, and we are closing in on 200,000 subscribers. Until next time, please be safe and
But it was a nice, good, listen, underrated team. I don't know about the Patriots though. You know, we gonna continue to own them goofy op boys. And that's the end of that video, man. I'm out.